Recording in progress.
All right, then. It is July the 12th, 2022. I think of myself as Robert Beatty. This is a broadcast of the Portland Insight Meditation Community. Watching Janice open a window. It's a funny angle. Looked like you were weightlifting, big heavy weights. Interesting. Well, oops. I clicked the wrong something there. I meant to click this. And this. And this. There we go. Well, it's another cloudless sky in Portland, Oregon. Going to be warm. In my checklist for to-dos before I leave on Friday, I got one major one done yesterday, which is to get the garden to water automatically. So that's done. So a poem. There's a little town just across the Columbia River upstream a little bit called Camas. And this is a little poem called Camas Lilies by Lynn Ungar. So let us become aware of our bodies, the fact of aliveness, the fact of breathing. Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of Camas opening into acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate if you knew their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour, how the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the flowers fell. And you, what of your rushed and useful life? Imagine setting it all down, papers, plans, appointments, everything, leaving only a note. Gone to the fields, to be lovely. I'll be back when I'm through blooming. Even now, unneeded and uneaten, the camas lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. Make no mistake. Of course, your work will always matter. Yet Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of Camas, opening into acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate if you knew their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour, how the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the flowers fell. And you, what of your rushed and useful life? Imagine setting it all down, papers, plans, appointments, everything, leaving only a note. Gone to the fields to be lovely. I'll be back when I'm through with blooming. Even now, unneeded and uneaten, the camas lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. Make no mistake, of course, your work will always matter. Yet Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. So perhaps we might add to our refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha the aspiration to be useless, to have no use right now, to not be productive, to not be preparing. I'm going to improve myself so I can become a better social activist, or I'm going to be a better partner or parent or something. I'll make fewer mistakes at my work. These are all overlays, aren't they? Aspirations to, I will make myself better. What if we were to simply accept this moment is precisely like this? There's nowhere to get to, nothing to improve. To lie among the chemists, to sit among all beings. We discover that there is a body sitting upright here. It's alive. It's nothing but life. Because it's alive, it must breathe. And it seems as though we can make a choice. And for this moment, one choice to make is to sit still. To land like a sequoia tree, or a redwood, or a Douglas fir. To land like a rock. And to be present in the most simple way for breathing in and breathing out. There may well be thoughts, plans, memories. The 5 hindrances may parade into the moment. Remember to become a rock, a conscious rock. Restlessness shows up in the mind. Oh, I want to do this now. I must do that later today. I have to remember this. Desire, wanting, craving shows up, as does disliking, disapproving, pushing against. Sloth and torpor may sluggishly roll its way in like fog. Doubt may sneak in under the door. Question, why am I doing this? But none of these are personal. They're just the weather. Being useless. No need to take notes or to remember anything. This is time off. Each breathing in is a beacon. Come home. Let go of the world of thinking and planning. Let go of attraction to pleasure or rejection from pain. Just be here with the beginning, middle, and ending of this breath right now. when the body takes root right where it is. And when the ceaseless avoidance of discomfort and seeking of pleasure softens. Mindfulness is present for thoughts, moods, impulses, desires, disliking, for everything. This is the birthplace of concentration, of a mind which remains present with the chosen object. It's the birthplace of equanimity, where the pleasant and the painful become like weather, like stars. Where the stories of personality become tangible objects. Where the song of I, me, mine quiets. And so we come home to here, to now. To lie down among the camas lilies, or to sit in our meditation spot. At first, it takes a certain intention and effort, and then it gathers a kind of momentum. How intimate, how close, how lovingly can awareness inhabit this breath, this body, this one-of-a-kind manifestation ever. In an unimaginable time, 14.2 billion years, they say, since this universe was born. There has never been you before as this. It's a very brief dance in the sun for this particular formulation, this particular incarnation. How intimate, how loving, how compassionate, how patient. Can one be with this incarnation? And it's anything but complicated. It's all about not doing. It's about being here. Please let us notice deeply, fully, this cloud of aliveness which is the body. And we can differentiate the body from the imagination. Imagination is one sense door, it's in mind. And let's allow the body to remain here in this safety of the meditation spot, in the safety of community. And let the doors of imagination open. We could imagine that we're sitting in a pleasant meadow somewhere, a safe meadow, your backpack beside you. Could be a meadow in the outer world or a meadow in the inner world. Or it could be a place at the beach, if you like the beach. There could be sun and seagulls and oceans waving, roaring, dappling. Or it could be rocking back and forth in a familiar old rocking chair in front of a fire. It could be anywhere. Most of all, though, we let it be safe. Finally safe. And in this realm of imagining, anything's possible. So we could imagine ourselves. You could imagine yourself in a certain way waking up and looking around and discovering that there's a small path. It's a path, there's leaves on it, hasn't been walked on much, but you recognize it as very familiar. Very familiar. And for some people, visualization is very potent. For others, not. Doesn't matter. Just being with whatever's there. And this path you recognize as very familiar. And you find yourself walking on it. And it goes a little bit uphill, and perhaps it's through a forest. Perhaps it's your favorite kind of trees. Maybe you stop to hug a tree. Or maybe you stop to take a drink out of a stream. There's little creatures that dance about on the top of the water. And you make your way up this path. And it goes up and up until you come to a place where the trees are getting thinner. It's almost like you can see sky through the trees. And then you discover it is sky through the trees. And you find yourself on the edge of a meadow. And there's a lake in the meadow. It's a rather big lake. And there's a large grassy plain beside the lake. And it seems so familiar to you. You may have been here hundreds of times before. And so you make your way to the side of the lake and you find a very comfortable, familiar log to sit on. On one side of the lake, there's mountains and perhaps a little snow. On the other side, it's rolling hills. And the sky is vast and blue. And you discover your heart to be very open because it does that when you're safe. And then there's a sense of someone approaching. And you look back and you see through another doorway into the woods, someone coming. And the someone could be the Buddha, or it could be Kuan Yin, or it could be any person or figure with whom you feel 100% safe. And they come forward and you greet one another. Perhaps it's a bow, perhaps it's a hug. And somehow, you know why you're together. And it's to connect with the infinite field of love which underlies all of life. And maybe you hold hands, or maybe you just sit side by side looking out at the lake. Maybe there are loving kindness thoughts. May you be happy. May your life become one great sigh of gratitude. May I realize there's nothing to fear. It doesn't matter what thoughts come up, because what's true is there's fine company here. And then you sense there's someone else coming. Or maybe it's an animal. Maybe it's one of your pets from some time in your life. Someone you thought you might never see again, and there they are, wagging their tail or purring or striding out of the woods in their energetic prime. And they come and join you in the Buddha. They come and join you in Kuan Yin or Mary or Inanna or Shikana or whoever it is. And greeting each other is so familiar. It's you. And it's so obvious what to do. As the three of you now sit by the lake and extend compassion out over the world, may all beings be free from suffering. May all beings remember their true great nature. And slowly, one by one, old friends, old lovers, parents, people with whom there are special connections and people with whom the connection was passing. The meadow gradually begins to fill up. And the momentum of love and kindness and wishing well grows and grows until it's like a torrent flowing to the east and the west and the north and the south. To all beings, beings without distinction. To all human beings and all animal beings. As we rest back in this field of loving kindness. And we could even dispense with the loving kindness term, this field of love, safety, no need to defend, even those subtle defenses that usually stay up inside. And so you can stay here for a short time or a long time. You can come here anytime you want. It takes one breath. One breath to remember that which you really are, have always been. And perhaps the day passes. And then at some point it's time. Somehow one knows, I must go back. But it's not a sad parting because this has always existed, will always exist, is always here, one breath away. And so gradually, the meadow begins to empty. No one's in a hurry. There are sweet partings, promises to stay in touch. And it comes down ultimately to being you and the Buddha, you and Kuan Yin, you and your own sweetheart's release. And then there's another sweet parting. See you soon. You will always be in my heart. And there you are, full of heart, full of compassion, sitting by the lake. Now the sun's coming from a different angle. And you discover the impulse, the intention to rise, and you get up and turn away from the lake and make your way back to the entrance to the forest. And before you enter the forest, of course, you stop and take another look around. This is your place. This is the place of love and compassion and heart opening and safety. And with great confidence, you know you can come back here any time, and so you turn and head into the forest. It's such a friendly trail. There are some rocks and some tree roots to step over, and maybe it's a conifer forest or a deciduous forest. Maybe it's all maple trees or Douglas firs. And you find your way down past that stream where you stopped and drank, and maybe you drink again. Maybe you fill a water bottle to take with you. And you find your way going down slowly. There's lots of light still, so there's no hurry. And you find your way to that rocking chair. And it's so comforting to be there again with your heart full. Or perhaps you come through the dunes out onto the beach and the sun has moved a long ways, but the waves still roll in, and all your stuff is there, of course. Or maybe it's into that forest glade, that meadow. And in any of these three or any other places of your imagination, you discover yourself feeling very rested and very awake. And you make that little shift, which is less than a millimeter, which is less than an eye blink, and you discover yourself to be sitting here now in this body, in this place, with your spiritual family on Zoom. And there's in-breathing and out-breathing, and there's a day before you. And you remember that at any time you want, you can visit that lake and find your heart open and be safe. Because that lake happens before and after everything. As does love and compassion. How intimate can we be, can you be with this breath right now? May all beings everywhere share in the merits of our practice. I invite to the altar of our hearts Ruth Dennison. Please think of your own teachers, your own mentors, anyone who has ever held you aloft and said, aha, original, boom. Is that better, Jamie? Yeah. Anyone who's ever held you aloft and said, go this way. This is the way to peacefulness. This is the way to forgiveness. It's always right here. May all beings share in the merits of our practice. Please join me in taking a moment to look around at the beautiful faces that are here. Thank you for coming this morning. I think that this morning I'm going to forego sharing and also announcements and sharing. Jim and I have a board meeting in 5 minutes, and so I think I just want to end quietly there. I hope you have a wonderful day. Let's remember to remember. However it is we do that. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning.